For the time being, the embattled president clings to power. He has called for a national forum on Thursday to seek a peaceful solution to Yemen's deepening crisis. But the crisis isn't showing any signs of relenting. Parts of the country appear to be slipping beyond the control of the government, and the protesters reject calls for dialogue, with President Saleh still in power. Hashim Al-Bara, AlJazeera, Sana'a.
Well, a Tunisian court has dissolved the political party of ousted President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali. The Constitutional Democratic Rally, or RCD party, was suspended last month pending the court's ruling. Nazanin Moshiri has more from Tunis.
Celebrations outside a Tunis courthouse. This is the moment many have been waiting for. The RCD, which ruled with the former President Ben Ali for 23 years, no longer exists.
This is an extraordinary end to a party that once had the membership of more than 2 million people. These people say they no longer want to be associated with the remnants of Tunisia's past regime.
In the past week, the country has gone further than Egypt to rid itself of an apparatus linked to decades of repression, dismantling the nation's political police and preparing to rewrite the constitution.
Today is a new era, a new country, a new page in our history, in our democracy, in our everything. Today we are building our heritage, our culture, our life. Today, the people, they say no, no, no.
Mohamed Ghariani is the highest-ranking member of this now-dissolved party. He accepts the decision and for the first time makes this admission.
I apologize for all the bad things people from the RCD have done towards any citizens, any Tunisian man or woman, and I invite people to open a new page to former RCD members.
But there are members of this once powerful institution who won't give up so easily. One lawyer told me only the RCD can protect Tunisia from what he calls the Islamist threat.
What is left for the Tunisians? Ennahda, the Islamist party, has the offices which are the mosques. It has the Islamic rhetoric, which Tunisians accept easily. And now there is a political vacuum.
There will be an appeal, but it's unlikely to succeed. In the past few months, there have been so many historic moments in Tunisia. March 9th will be remembered as yet another end of an era. Nazanin Moshiri, AlJazeera, Tunis.
Well, we're just bringing you now some news that's coming in from Egypt, where Mohammed al-Baradei, the opposition, one of the opposition figures there, has announced that he will run for president in the upcoming elections. Of course, the interim military council, or the military forces which are running the country, are planning to hold elections in a matter of months. Mohammed al-Baradei was one of the prominent figures in the pro-democracy movement that brought down the former president, Hosni Mubarak. He was expected to run, but he's now confirmed it on a private Egyptian television channel. Well, the Taliban has claimed responsibility for attacking a funeral procession in northwest Pakistan. At least 37 people have been killed and 100 others injured in Wednesday's attack. Kamal Haider reports.
It became a race to save the lives of those caught by the bomb's deadly blast. The victims had been taking part in a funeral procession. Now it was a procession of wounded to hospital. Some would live, but many would die. This attack was cruel even by Pakistani standards. The attacker, a young boy, said to have been wrapped in a shawl. Just as the crowd prepared to pray, he detonated his bomb. The main target, the leadership of the anti-Taliban militiamen in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, a volunteer fighting force organized by the government in its long-running war against the Pakistani Taliban. They've been targeted before. 2 years ago, the head of the force was killed in a bomb attack. The Pakistani Taliban may be feeling some pressure here. However, almost every week, they remind the government in Islamabad that they remain a potent force in Pakistan. Kamal Haider, AlJazeera, Islamabad.
Well, let's get more news from Europe now. Back to Felicity Barr in London. Felicity.
Thanks for that, Sammy. We're going to begin with a new government for the Republic of Ireland. Enda Kenny has been elected as Ireland's Prime Minister. The Fine Gael party leader vowed to resolve the country's banking bailout crisis. Mr Kenny says he aims to renegotiate the terms of the bailout, making them more affordable for Ireland. 9 people have been arrested in London and Reykjavik in connection with the collapse of Iceland's Kaupthing Bank. Tycoons Vincent and Robert Cengiz are believed to be among those being questioned in the UK. Kaupthing, one of Iceland's main commercial banks, collapsed 2 years ago. Protesters have gathered outside the Japanese embassy in Moscow as part of the ongoing row over the southern Kuril Islands, which both countries lay claim to. The protesters were calling for a review into a demonstration last month in which a Russian flag was desecrated. The dispute means a formal peace treaty has never been signed to put an end to World War II hostilities.
We want the Japanese government to punish those who desecrated the Russian flag. We want a judicial inquiry to be opened because they're still free. They're still not in jail. We think that the atmosphere that reigns in Japan allows anti-Russian moods to develop.
Now, shops in England are to be banned from displaying cigarettes and other tobacco products as part of a drive to cut the number of smokers. The British government's also considering other measures, such as plain packaging. Rory Challens reports.
All over Europe, smokers are under attack. There are bans on puffing in public from Spain to Britain to Greece and beyond. And now governments are legislating on how tobacco products are sold. Cigarette displays like this will soon disappear in England. Big stores will have to get rid of theirs by April 2012, and small stores, well, they'll have to have theirs out of sight by April 2015. And then there's this, plain packaging for cigarettes. Ministers are going to start a public consultation on whether the UK is going to be the first European country to introduce it. The point of all this is to make the habit less appealing for young people and reduce the massive health costs of caring for diseased smokers.
Most people start smoking very early. The average age in the UK is 13 or 14. And of course, that's not the sort of age you're doing things, sensibly. You're doing it because of peer pressure and the rest of it. The tragedy is that they're then going on for years and years and finding it very difficult to stop.
Scotland and Northern Ireland are planning similar legislation, but sellers say there's little evidence that putting the cigarettes out of sight helps.
Ireland have had a display ban now for 18 months and they've actually seen youth smoking increase, and the retailers are losing 20% of their sales overnight when it was introduced.
But the tide is certainly turning against the European smoker. For one reason or another, they could be a dying breed. Rory Challens, AlJazeera, London.
Now, a senior Republican congressman in the US is launching a hearing this week into what he describes as a rise in violent extremism in the United States. More on that. It's back to Daljit in Washington. Daljit.
Felicity, thanks very much.